Okay, it's staying on. I made some brownies. They look like piles of poop. It looked like piles of poop. It looked like it was done, but on the very bottom, the oil had settled, and I had to put foil in it because the pan that I used didn't didn't have less rust as the one I could not find. I could not find one. I wasn't looking for it. I wanted to make some of the brownies. I usually fuck the brownies up. I talked to our neighbors because the neighbor lady and my dad are kind of friends, better friends than I have of any of them. I've made friends with one of the sons that lives next door years ago. Very interesting, very interesting, strange young man. I mean, I guess we are like that. All are interesting and strange young man. He told me he was gay and he didn't want me to tell his family. Not always gay, but mostly gay. He turned his fire on and began to flame like a flame on. Like he turned it on. He started flaming. I think he was just rebelling against the whole religiousness of his family because they're staunchly Catholic, and he was like a Burning Man person, kind of how he identified. But he did have like an alter ego that he would that would kick in, and his voice would change, and he would be like, "Girlfriend," talk like that. I don't think he lives there no more, but his brother does. His brother's more the religious Catholic one in his own world. I don't know what he does. They both supposedly really had bad bipolar. I mean, that's why they ended up living at home with their parents. But they're a tight knit group. Years ago, when my dad worked at the lumber yard downtown, they had a music school inside of there. In one of the rooms they rented out, and she was the music school teacher and plays in a band. I think the band's called Spectra. I think it's Spectra. She's a pretty good musician. Yeah. The dad, I think, works for Samsung, which when I was doing air conditioning, sheet metal work, my company did that job. They put the AC in the new Samsung building, which is somewhere in Austin. Um, Way too greasy. Not bad, but I think it'll. Right back to it. All right, there you go. Clump up. If it gets cold, you put it in the ice box. Let it whatever. But it might have needed to cook it for longer. I cooked the longer length of it had 26 to 28 minutes, and I put it in there for 28 minutes. I probably should have cooked it for 32. maybe, but I didn't. I just did it. After the nurse guy leaves, I'm going to call the bank and try to get that stuff rolling. But I don't want to get on the phone and then have him show up. It doesn't make any sense to do it like that. I'm real tired now. We were all over the place in here. Luckily, we didn't have as. It could have been really bad. Could have been a really more worse of a mess. But fortunately, we're able to get it under control. He looks comfortable a little bit, just chilling, looking at the TV. I don't think he's really watching it. He's just looking at it. Are you watching the TV? Or just looking at it? Yeah, the neighbor lady, I told her what was going on with my dad because I wanted to tell him whenever he went into the hospital because they're actually really good people. And he just got sidetracked. I see he was writing the notes. So I was waiting until the number of the note that I got to, which was the third one. I'm on the third note. Just very weird topics. I don't even know who the hell he was writing. I don't know who he was even writing to. It could be Aubrey. It could have been, I don't know. I don't exactly know because they weren't in order. It wasn't like a book. It was very strange. But it was synchronous because we had been through this before. Well, he had to go to the hospital, and I had to uh, man the fort while he was sick and in the hospital and getting shit done with him. And that's when my friend Candace came. He was mad as hell because she brought a dog. But I didn't want the dog either. She probably could have made things easier on a lot more people if she would have let go of the dog a couple times throughout that event. He wasn't a bad dog either. He was actually a pretty good dog, mostly. Wasn't, but I mean, he was a big ass pit bull, and he run around, he'd knock your ass over and shit like that, pissing us all off. But she didn't have anywhere to go and needed to. She had asked if she could come here. I was like, yeah, brought all of her shit. For a while, it was all right, but she's not very. We ended up not getting along. She had a lot of different friends in this town, working at the bar, and all those people, and I just don't do the bars. I don't do the bars. I don't want to go out. I don't want to get. I'm not a drinker, so she stays up all night. We're daytime people. It just became very difficult. She got sick and got congestive heart failure, and then came and stayed for a little while. But her daughter was wanting her to go and live with her. Her daughter had just had a baby, and that she had her grandbaby, and she actually needed to do that. She needed to go and be with them, but she was going to have to let go of the dog, and was holding on to the dog, and just making life difficult for someone else, which was me and my dad. But it wasn't really all that bad, except it started to feel at that time, which was not in the beginning. I'm talking about the beginning when she moved, because I was reading the note. The note was referring to when she had first moved here, and when she left, she was sick. She had congestive heart failure, but she made it really heavy in here. It's really, really heavy. Like for me, it was real hard to move around. It was hard to everything. Didn't have the flow right. She would get up in the middle of the night and then do all of her cooking and all that shit while we're trying to sleep. So I was like, you have to go. You have to go somewhere else. You can't stay here. I can't handle it. It's too much. It's too much going on. My dad was getting sick. Couldn't take care of them both. She just didn't work well with anybody because her ability to be empathic or pick up someone else's shit, she didn't really have it. She didn't. She tried to use her brain and communicate like that, but she didn't intuit nothing and she didn't flow. With the flow, she jammed all the flow up. And if you tried to explain any of that to her or communicate to her, she would get real hostile and self defensive. So you couldn't communicate with her. Whenever I went and lived with her, everybody tiptoed around her and they were afraid of her. They had to do all kinds of shit, because she was a tyrant. If you tell somebody or ask them to do something or try to get the flow going, a lot of times somebody will take it as a personal attack, because they haven't worked out their issues. And it's not always a personal attack. You communicate with somebody and try to let them know what's going on. And if you get mad about it, and then you attack them, or you're mean to them, or you do passive aggressive shit, you're not being very helpful. Number one. Number two, you're not able to be communicated to. You know, the idea I think behind someone doing that is that if they give you shit or tell them anything, you won't tell them nothing. You won't tell them what you need to do, or you'll stay the fuck out of the way. That's pretty much how she was. Because she'd be mean. She would be out of her way, not helpful, or always holding something back or whatever if you said or did anything. You know, so it was kind of fucked up. Not not violent, not nothing like that. Very passive aggressive and very mean and very manipulative in the type of way, and it made it just like you got to leave. It's like I can't do this. This is not gonna work. She got all mad at me, threw a fit, made me load her car, which I did because she's all sick and fucked up. But all she had to do was listen, not get all butthurt if I'd say something, and it might have been all right. But it wasn't all right. She wasn't going to change how she was. She wasn't going to do it. Nobody wanted her to change how she was. Just wanted to change how she acted and reacted. Very reactive. Took everything way too personal. Way too personal. So that was that situation. Now we're back to here, just us. He's in his bed with his eyes halfway caught, trying to breathe, but trying to reconnect the sense of community, because it is important during these times to know your damn neighbors, who they are. We don't know the other side neighbors because they don't really live in the direct next to us per se. You have to go like down the street and talk to those people. And I don't know who they are. I ever met them, but these people we have had some previous experience with, because they used to. The lady used to work in there where we worked, inside that building, so we know her from there. From time to time, they brought us different stuff, like little cookies and stuff for the holidays, stuff like that. And I know that they have some faith, religion in their family. Not that it's religion; it is religion. I met the grandma too. She was an interesting character. She's a major player in the cowboy scene. She goes to the reservation, likes to drink and get mean. No, she doesn't. She doesn't do that. She's the ladies of charity commander of the all the Catholic shit that all the Catholics do. They're always trying to. I don't know. They're into all kinds of shit. Grandma's a very busybody. She was interesting when she came and I met her. It was around the time when my friends were staying at the river, which was Hugo and Eden. Everybody was here at that time. We had everybody here. Hugo probably would have got out of there. I think somebody got raided or ransacked or something at wherever he was, and Eden took him out of there. That's how Eden's got to be the hero, the warrior. So she snagged him out of wherever he was for whatever reason. And I remember being in my room, and he was passed out. Whatever the fuck was going on, it's like we had his body, and we were piloting the boat. We had the spear, we had the stuff. We were doing the ritual to get him out of the state where he was at, which would have been captured and probably prisoned for a long period of time, or murdered, or whatever the hell. There's a lot of weird Nazi drug heads that are around here. They have like some sort of compound with a bunch of kids in it that some landowners got. It's got all the kids in there like some damn um, a big compound with a bunch of people in it, which is strange. But I've never been there, never seen it, only heard about it. None for me, thanks. Not into that. Now we're chilling out. It's a little bit later in the day. He's tired, I can see. He's like that. I'm basically the same way. I like to put my pillows back down on the floor and take a nap, but I'm waiting for all these people to come. Or at least the nurse guy. Since we got all the package with all the stuff in it that he needs. He's got some morphine to knock his ass out. Or something. Since you're hospice, they're not trying to worry about you being addicted or being whatever the hell anymore. They're just gonna let you go the way your body takes you, which doesn't look like my dad's body's gonna be building itself back up. He's got bone. He looks like one of them. You look like one of them damn Auschwitz victims on your legs. His legs are so bony and out of there. He's got no muscles on him at all. The muscles ate up. He ate his muscles. His body ate his muscles up. The other day he told me, make sure make sure they see you feed me right. I was like, why are you saying that? I got mad because I thought he thought I'm trying to do it like a role, and I wanted him to eat. I wanted him to eat and try to get better. But I don't know where he's coming from. He said his TV and his reality are entangled. I'm like, yeah, they are. So his mind's veering in between the worlds. He's passing to the next one. So somewhat. And I've been having dreams like that too, where there was like a training academy of knights. Everyone had armor and shields and swords, and it was like the high school. It was like trying to get to high school, and my car was messed up. So I was like, I'm gonna take off. And my mom was at home too. She didn't go to work for some reason. We were both in our own worlds, trying to stay in our own areas and not interact or not infringe upon each other when we both stayed. We weren't able to. Well, there have been a lot of times where I had a dream and I wasn't able to get to school, or I missed a class and there was supposed to be a test or something, and I didn't make it to school, or I skipped school, and it's like it's very weird feeling. I'm totally tired. Probably gonna have to take a nap on the floor. Take a nap anytime you can get it, because our hours are. We'll be doing this 24/7 a day, so I get my pay for certain hours of work, but I've got to be doing it all day. So sometime during the day, I have to take my break and take a nap, or you won't get it because you're not gonna get the right amount of sleep. We woke up and he had done had that lactulose kick in. That shit kicked in because he had it. His stuff was coming out. It looked like mud. It just kept coming. He's like, I couldn't do nothing to stop it. And it's like, well, I'm not mad. Definitely upset, but not mad. Not pissed off about it. At least not very long. Actually, happy to get it passed because now I know what it is and how to deal with it. But I don't have any more of those. They give us some pads that we can put underneath there so that anything that may leak out of the under area from the adult diaper, you catch it in there, and mostly that'll keep shit safe. But he had it roll up his back. He got it all on him because it was like it was liquid, which was easier to get off because he was able to get in the bathtub and get water and just pour it off. But it's got to be so painful for him because he's just bone. Get bone in his skin, and he's all bumped up and bruised. But he didn't fall down. He didn't bump his head. We were able to get him back and put him in the bed, and he's all right. He looks messed up. That's out of there, but definitely cared for. Not not alone. Not somebody that's going to be yelling at him and being mean about shit like that. To treat your people right. It's difficult, especially if you can't communicate completely and you're trying to because you have to do maneuvers. You might have to pick somebody up or get one side, so you got to learn how to do all that. You have to figure it out when you're going to do it. So we sort of figured it out and got the body moving around. He can move his body around easier, and I can wash him off and give him rags that are wet clean him off. So he got cleaned off. That was the first experience of that. Everybody talks about it. You're like, oh, wipe your ass whenever you get old. That's like one of the things people say. So it was one of the things that did it, and I didn't want it to have to be that way, but I'm all right with it. I'm not fucked up about it. It's very difficult, but it feels good in the soul to be able to do it and be able not to have somebody on their own. There's a couple times when Dad would have died at different times in my life where he had different shit happen to him. He did die once. He fell off the toilet, had that um he had the bleeding ulcer when he married Vivian, my stepmom, and literally died for a little while. Was flying around, had the out of body experience, and told me all about it. The next time it happened, they just put him in the ambulance and then they life flighted him to the St. David Hospital where he went this time, and he didn't remember none of it. So each time he has the bleeding ulcer shit happening, majorly fucks his shit up. Except now his liver's fucked up, so they say it's not going to get any better. And I guess they know so. Still going to try to feed him, get him to move around a little bit, and try to get his mind back if it's possible. It might just be toxins from the liver in there, but I don't know. That's where we are. It's all right. It could be worse. It could be a hell of a lot worse. But it's actually getting better with each little obstacle. It gets a little bit better. So now I'm just waiting on the guy to come. But I think I need to take my nap on the floor. Have a nice day.